Hey there, Prairie Plant Girl here. Today I'm going to take my cuttings that I took from Coleus that I had growing out in the yard earlier this year, and I'm going to plant them up into some soil. So these cuttings have been sitting for a month and a half, about 2 months now, just sitting in water. Not ideal. I should have potted them up a long time ago, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So today is the day, and I've got everything set up. It's beautiful and sunny outside, so it's warm enough in the greenhouse to have these out here and make the mess out here, which is wonderful. I love that. It's right around freezing outside, but in here it's about 15 degrees, so nice. So I had the tags in the containers so I'd know which variety they were, and this is henna. So you can see the plants there, the leaf color, leaf shape. And there's 2 cuttings in this container. And I think I should get some nice plants going off of that. This is a full sun and shade Coleus. And this one is Vulcan. And again, a full sun and shade Coleus. Some of the older Coleuses tend to prefer more shade, but there are some that have been bred now to like the sun. So just look at your tag, because not all Coleus want the same conditions. So if you look at the bottom, propagation prohibited down in there. Now, I'm propagating these for my own use in my own home. I'm not selling them or, giving them away and taking away from the trade. And I will still be buying more next year because I'm always buying more. But just be aware that there is that trademarking on a lot of plants that you buy at the garden centers. And it's something to be aware of. For sure, you shouldn't be selling the plants that you're trademarking. A lot of money and time goes into developing these varieties. And we want to still be supporting the greenhouse growing industry so that they can continue to do that great work for us. I feel pretty secure in propagating a couple of cuttings from my own yard to carry over for the next year. I know I'll be buying more, and these are all for my own personal use. So, but just something to know. So if you have concerns about that, it's out there in the open. So what I'm going to be doing, take some things out of the way here, is I'm going to be just planting them into these plastic pots, because the reason I want to actually have them growing isn't so much to have them as a house plant over the winter as to just keep them going over the winter so that I can take more cuttings, new cuttings in the spring, and have these plants again in my yard next summer. It's too cold here in Saskatchewan, Canada to keep them growing outside. Coleus, I don't know if they're actually technically perennial in warmer climates, but they're just grown as an annual here in Saskatchewan, Canada, and I think all of Canada. And so I'll just put them in here. They will probably get a little bit leggy and scraggly if I'm not careful and keep them trimmed and under really bright light, but I'll be able to get the cuttings off of healthy plants anyways in the late winter to propagate to make more plants for in the spring, which is all I want. So I'm going to I have 2 pots, so I'll put each variety in their own pot. And then just to make them look a little nicer, I just have this kind of catch pot here, and I'll put them in there. And originally, like when I first plant them, the leaves will be a little sparse, but they will fill in. So I'm not even going to worry about top dressing. I thought about getting some top dressing, but I find inside it can just attract insects and things, so I'd rather not do any, mosses or anything. And I just think this is a nice little container that these plants will eventually kind of grow around and I think cover up the tops here, but won't look as pretty. This is a nice container. It's just a decorative container that I picked up at my local garden center. And I just thought it would be a fun thing to have these pretty plants in. They complement each other quite nicely. So side by side, I think they'll look great. And it's not going to take much to do this. So I'm just going to plant them up like I would any other cutting or plant. This container does have a drip liner in it, which apparently has some leaves in it, so we'll get that cleaned out. So I'm just going to fill each of these containers with soil, make a little divot. I don't know if I'm even going to need to do any trimming. I'll show you the roots on here. So you see those roots have really gotten quite robust there. I could probably even take more cuttings and produce even more, but these two should fill out that pot really nicely. So we'll just do that. I didn't need to make my cuttings this long. You know, it's just, it was fall. I took cuttings, threw them in water quick, and never got back to them. But you could certainly have just cut it down to the next leaf node there. You can see where the leaves were growing. You cut that off, cut the leaves off of that node, and then cut right below it, because the leaf nodes is the point where the roots are going to come out of. Like you can see here, there's a leaf node. Hopefully you can see that. That's where the roots came out of. Here's a leaf node. That's where the roots came. So that's what you're looking for. So I just have a damp mix of a couple of different kinds of potting soil from my house, and I dumped in, because the potting soil I had was pretty heavy soil, so I dumped in a little bit of perlite and vermiculite that I had just to kind of loosen it up, get some more drainage. And there's actually a little bit of a peat moss growers mix in here as well, because after I dumped all that perlite and vermiculite in, I thought, that looks a little bit too much like a seed starting mix. So I just got it to a point now where I kind of like the looks of it. It should have good drainage, good water holding potential, and some soil, you know, to hold some nutrition. So that's what it looks like. Like I said, I'm just gonna start filling the pots up. And I'll just fill them up and pop the cuttings in. So I can see this guy, see he's been in the water so long it's gotten rotten at the end. So I'm going to just go up to some good healthy stem there. Take off these couple of leaves down there and just slide it down in the soil. There is more of these leaf nodes along here, and you see more roots starting to form there. So I'm going to put it pretty deep down in the soil, bring it up to meet that. So this guy's looking pretty healthy. I'm just going to remove a couple of these lower sets of leaves. And then I've got a big hole here. Actually, because of the way this one is kind of bent like that, I'm going to go like this instead and kind of set it sideways down into the soil and cover it that way. And again, it should form more roots down at this point, and it will probably start shooting up some stems, I'm guessing, from off of that horizontal root. And I'm going to stick this tag in because, of course, I want to know what the variety is later on. And that's one done. Here's the second one. These are much thicker stems. You see some roots up at the top here. Again, I'm just going to take off the bottom couple leaves. It's just as they're trying to get established here, and they're going from a lot of water that they've been growing in for a long time into a drier medium of this soil, they're going to notice that change in the humidity and the moisture levels. And so if I can just give them a little less transpiration with a few less large leaves, that's going to help them a bit. Now at the same time, I don't want to make the plant look too gangly right from the start. So see where these roots, lots of roots, and this is pretty tall cutting. I'm going to take just this bottom part and just cut it off, just simply to make it shorter. There's lots of Lots of roots left here. I'm just gonna stick it down in there. I might even go a bit shorter. There. That looks better. Make sure those roots have enough soil around them. And like I said again, the stems will probably send off a few more roots right at the bottoms there where they're covered in soil, depending if they feel they need more uptake. So now that I have them both planted up, I can just take them and set them into my tray here. And like I said, it's going to look a little bit open, you know, at the beginning here, but the Coleus should fill in and kind of cover the top of this and make it a kind of a nice looking thing. But I'm not really too worried. I'm not going to have this out on like display in my house. It's not the plan anyways. So to have it like this and just have it sitting on a shelf with some grow lights around it will be just fine. When I'm potting up houseplants, I like to do one more, well, two more, I guess, steps. So I have these little packs here. These are little nematode capsule kind of things. And they come like this. You can get them, it's like brand name like Pot Poppers or Nemonite, and I just order them off Amazon. I order them in bulk in big boxes, so they come in those little Ziploc bags with these little packs. Now the instructions say to just set the pack on the soil, but I actually find it works better to cut the pack open. If I have scissors, that would have helped. And just sprinkle them on top of the soil. So you can see here. So I just take them and I just sprinkle them out on the soil. And it's just those little balls there. And those will have the little nematodes inside of them, and as you keep them moist for a few days to a week, the nematodes will hatch out into the soil, and what they will do is eat the larvae and eggs of the fungus gnats. And it doesn't matter what brand of potting soil I buy, I always have fungus gnats in it. So I always like to do that. And then like I even saw fungus gnats crawling around while I was doing this. So then I take to work on the adult fungus gnats. I have these. This is a different variety than I've purchased in the past, and they are stiffer than the sticky traps that I've purchased in the past that stick in with your plant pots. So I'll put a link to both these products below if you like. But these, they're not sticky on this bottom part, they're only sticky on the tops that this paper was on. And I'm just going to put one over here. They're not the prettiest thing, but I mean, another fungus gnats in your house. So if you just get this, put them in for a little while, and you know that'll catch any adults that are already in that potting soil, potting mix. And then the nematodes should work on the babies that are hatching out and the eggs. And then you shouldn't have to have this, you know, very long. But I just think it's, you know, what they say, an ounce of prevention, right? So stick a couple in here. I try to keep them away from the plants as much as I can. And like I said, that's just to catch any of the adults that are already flying around and wanting to come out of that soil. And then I will water, I'll top water and use a mist bottle, because you don't want to have it too wet all the time, right? So I just use the mist bottle and make sure those little balls stay moist, and that seems to work well. I will water these in when I get back inside the house with I have big watering cans out here, so it would just spray everywhere. But I'll give them a little watering in the house and keep them fairly damp for the first week, because like I said, they're used to living in water right now. So I want to allow them to kind of acclimate to the drier conditions of being in soil. But once that's done, then I'll just keep them, you know, as the top layer of soil dries out. You can use just your finger to try to test that. And then I'll just give them a little bit of water, and I'll just be keeping them under some grow lights and just holding on to them basically until I want to start taking cuttings in the spring. So hopefully you found this interesting. Hopefully if you took cuttings and you're wondering what to do with them now, they've rooted and you just don't know what the next step is, this is the next step if you're looking to take cuttings to just have plants to grow into the next, to have plants that you can propagate for the next year's growing season outside. This is all I do. So thanks for watching. If you enjoy my videos and you want to support this channel, click the subscribe button down below and the thumbs up button. And anytime you want to know more about the products that I use, or if I talk about other videos that link to what I'm doing, it's always in the description down below, which is often just a small write-up below the video if you're watching on a computer or a portable device, and it often is just a few words and it says more, and you just have to click more and you'll get all that information that I say I've put down below or in the description. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.